Myself, Vivek Agarwal. I am the assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in Akgec. So today I am going to provide you a lecture on this topic cloud computing. So this is a very basic concepts we are going to discuss here regarding the cloud computing. Its basic definitions, the basic architecture, definitions, fundamental elements, and the benefits and the challenges in the cloud computing. So we are going to discuss one by one each and everything. So my first point is to the idea behind the cloud computing. So what you feel, what was the idea regarding the cloud computing? So according to me, the idea was, when we don't generate electricity to consume it, then why data centers? Means the cloud computing is a concept, is a kind of the computing where we don't need to have the resources at our premises. We can utilize the resources which are stored to some other location. We must say that the clouds, the term is called as the cloud. So we will discuss this further in the next slides. The concept, the idea, we will discuss in the further slides too. So come to the next point is, so my point is, do you use the cloud services? Do you use the cloud applications? So there are a lot of applications displayed here. You can see around. Just see what are the various services already you are using in your day-to-day lives. So if I am target a particular, so the Google workspace is quite very common things, very common tools already you are utilizing, you are using in day-to-day life. Like very popular cloud service provider is AWS, and various social media platforms are there, various various utility softwares are there already you are utilizing in your day-to-day life. But generally we don't have idea. Okay, these are the applications of the cloud computing. So let's come further. So cloud computing. Cloud computing is a combination of two words, cloud and the computing. So how we can define a cloud? Cloud can be defined in two ways. Like it can be termed as collection of computer resources, computing resources like servers, CPUs, hardware, network, memory storage, database, software, application, etc. available at the remote location and can be accessed through the internet. So if you see here, the internet is a very vital thing for accessing the cloud, because each and every resource we had just termed right now, the computing resources are located or stored to a place, to a remote location, which can be accessed through the internet only. So it is very crucial to have a good internet connectivity for accessing the cloud services. So in other terms, we can we can define the cloud as the servers that are accessed over the internet and the software and the databases that run on those servers. Cloud servers are located in the data centers all over the world. So ultimately the cloud is something, a space where we can kind of a set of machines which are stored to a remote location, which are not at your own premises, which are not your local, on your local space. These are stored somewhere in the cloud, somewhere in the remote areas, and generally the areas where these computing resources are stored called as the servers, or we can, the collection of various servers can be called as the data center. In my next slide I will show you how the data center looks like and what are the their functionalities we can access through the data centers. So ultimately cloud, we can now understand cloud is something like, we can have idea like cloud can be drawn and can be referred, can be compared with the internet too also, because in the space of cyber and the digital things, we generally draw the kind of the image, kind of the architecture, kind of the image for the internet to represent the internet also. So cloud, we can say the cloud is the metaphor for the internet also. Reason behind it, because without internet we can access these resources, we cannot access the cloud, because all these resources are stored to a remote location. Now come to the second part of this term, cloud computing, that is computing. So computing is a very generalized term, already we had gone through many of times. In very simple terms, we can call it's kind of any activity that uses computer to manage, process and communicate the information or data. like if there is any file, you need to be extract the data from that file, that is also kind of a computing. If you are having a set of data and you need to analyze the data, you need to transform the data, the form of the data, and you need to perform some other actions on that data, everything is comes under the computing. So there are various problems, there are various problem, very complex problem which are not able to solve to you can say to perform these activity, to solve these problem on your own machines. Then the cloud computing is being very handy, because you can utilize the resources, the more capable resources which are available on the cloud side. So if we are talking about the resources, there is one thing we must always consider, that is the capability. Like if there is any resource is available on the cloud or on your physical machine, the capability is important factor, because capability denotes the how much utilization we can receive from the resource. So many of times the general idea behind the cloud computing was, many of times we don't have so much resources, the capable resources at our end, at our premises, so we can utilize the services provided by the cloud service provider, through which we can solve our complex problem without installing these hardware at our own premises. So come to the next thing. So as a whole, cloud and computing we had gone through. The cloud computing as a whole can be referred as the uses of distributed remote cloud servers located in the data center to manage, process and communicate the information or data over the internet. As the diagram shows, you can see this is the cloud, as the image I just drawn in the previous slide. This is a cloud which is having various applications stored there, a database can be there, and several files can be there. And this is the user device through which you can access this, the cloud, and the accessing network or the accessing medium is the internet only. So this is whole about the cloud computing as a whole. So now there is a term distributed. We must understand distributed and remote. The term remote is very clear to us, like because these computing resources are not available at my own premises, these are stored to another location, to the another server, or I must say the data center. They are not available at my premises, that's why we are calling them the remote. And the distributed, because many of times these computing resource provided by a single service provider are not available on a single place, they are distributed in various machines, maybe various locations, or maybe the various data centers. So as we discuss term data center repeatedly, so this is a image, you can understand how the data centers looks like. There used to be a big space, a kind of the hall, and the various racks used to be there. You can see them, a set of various racks, rack 1, rack 2, rack 3, rack 4, rack 5 and so on. So there is used to be a collection of various racks which can be organized in any way. This is a way where they are arranged in a parallel way, so we can arrange them in any way. As we can see, when there are a number of processing machines are assembled or are gathered at the single place, so you can assume about the heat, how much heat they are being producing. So there used to be some mechanisms to cool down the system. So this is not the part of the cloud, so we can discuss them in any other topic, in any other slide. So come to this. If we extract any single rack from this arrangement, if we extract a single rack which can be shown like this, a rack, this rack can have multiple servers like this, 1 2 3 4 5 6. It depends on the size of the rack. There may be multiple servers can be installed in a single rack. So you can assume a data center can have n numbers of servers, and every server is capable to perform very complex calculations. So just think about the cloud. So you can never be able to to set up such kind of infrastructure on your own premises. And if you are going to set up kind of the set of resources on your premises, it's going to be very cost have a hefty cost you will have to pay. So but using the cloud services, you can optimize the cost in a very big way, because these services you can avail from the cloud service provider on a pay per use basis. The amount you are going to use the resources, you can pay only that amount. So that's the benefit of cloud computing. We will come further for the detailed discussion about the benefits. So this is a basic cloud computing architecture, which is very similar to like this. This is a basic formation of the structure. Like there is a cloud and there are some cloud service providers, cloud service consumers are utilizing the cloud services, using the cloud resources, using a medium internet. Now we just expanded the architecture into this. So this is the cloud, the same as we were discussing previously, and there are several resources available at the cloud computing, at the cloud. So there could be some virtual desktop, there could be some servers, there could be some software platform, there could be some application, there could be some storage. So you can any user can use the cloud for just storing their data. Like already Google Drive you are using. Google Drive, again I must say, the example of cloud computing. The applications, various application already you are using over the cloud, like Google Workspace, Google Sheets you are using there, and Google Forms you are using there. So these are the applications provided by the cloud service provider. You no need to program, you no need to install these application on your own system. You just can go and to the URL provided by the, or any application provided by the application interface provided by the provider, and you can use these functionalities using the internet. Then there could be some software platform where you can develop the programs, you can develop the applications. Like various applications are there you used to for programming purpose, but in the case of cloud computing you don't need to install these softwares in your system. You can access these applications, these platforms, application development platforms, using the cloud services over the cloud. So just use them, just access them through the internet and use them. No need to set up the environment, no need to install the softwares, no need to check their compatibility with your device. You can access these software platforms. Like you can set up your virtual desktops, you can create the copy of your system, of your desktop over the cloud. So these are the services, and maybe the databases. So these are the elements, these are the resources. Maybe more resources may be available on the cloud side, and this is the medium through which a user can access. I'll come to this now. These are the devices through which we can access the cloud computing services. So mobile could be there, laptops could be there, and printers could be there. They can access the services from the cloud computing service provider. And there may be some desktops, multiple desktops could be there, and these desktops may be the thin device or the thick device. The next slide is I'll discuss more about this. So all in all, these are the users. In the previous slide we were talking about. Now we have just expanded the type of the users. The user could be in the form of various kind of desktops, maybe having the thin capacity, maybe the thick capacity, maybe some mobile devices could be there through which you can access the cloud services. Already you are using the Gmail is one of the example. You can access the Gmail from your mobile as well, and from the desktop as well. You can access the services through the laptop. You can utilize some services, some other devices also. The one example is printers there. And if we talk about the internet, yes, internet is the prominent thing to access the cloud services, because all these services, all these resources are hosted to a remote location which can be accessed through the internet only. Just think about, like if there is a data center which is set up in the USA, and you are the cloud service consumer is in India. So if you need to access the resources hosted in the USA, how you are going to access these resources? So if we need a network, so there is only one network which is globally available, easily globally available for the consumers, that is internet. So using the internet services, we can access, any user can access these cloud services. And for establishing the internet, there may be some devices like switches, router can be used for establishing an internet connectivity on the consumer side. So all in all, there are various components the entities we can call them in this architecture. The prominent is service provider. As we can see, this is the cloud, and there must be a owner. There must be a owner of this, the whole setup. Means it may be any individual, it may be any company who has been set up all this infrastructure there. So that owner or that service provider can be called as the cloud service provider. It may be any organization or maybe individual, but in most of the cases these are the organization. The prominent cloud service providing organizations are Amazon and the Google. Amazon is widely known for its specifically AWS, Amazon Web Services, the platform set up by the Amazon for providing the cloud service, the services, the platform as a service. I will come to them in next topic. Like the cloud computing services are provisioned into various ways, like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So we'll come to them in next topic. So for now, the Amazon and the Google are the prime cloud service provider as an organization, and the next entity could be the cloud service consumers. These are the consumers ultimately who are utilizing these services provided by any cloud service provider. So it may be any kind of the user. These are the devices which are being used for accessing the service, but being managed or used by some physical, some persons, maybe some any organization. Maybe these belong to any organization or maybe any individual. So the cloud consumers may be any individual or any organization which can utilize the services provided by the cloud service provider. And there used to be a cloud host, the remote server hosting the cloud service, cloud clients. These are the we can say the cloud service provider, and the consumers are the entities who are actually provisioning the service, and the community which is accessing these services or getting the benefit from these services. Cloud host, we can say a setup, a infrastructure, we can say the infrastructure, the setup provided by set up by the cloud service provider can be called as the cloud host, which is having all the remote servers established there, which are only the responsible things, which are the only responsible setup for provisioning the services. And the client side, there could be two things through which any user can access the service. If we are going to access the cloud services, then we need some devices on which we can get the services provided by the cloud service provider. So these client devices can be categorized into two categories: thick device and thin device. I believe already you are having a little idea about the thick and thin device. I'm going to just give you a small description about the thick and thin. Thick devices are which are capable devices, means whose resources are well capable. Like I must say, the capability can be judged of any system, any device, in terms of their processing speed, their processing capabilities, and their storage capacities, and we can judge them on the basis of their memory capacities and their GPU, what kind of GPU they are using, graphical processing capabilities. So if any device is well capable, having good capacity resources in them, the device can be called as a thick device, which is having good processing element, good GPU, good memory space, and as well as other resources with good capability. But the thin devices are not the devices which are well capable, having the well capability resources. These are the devices which utilizes the services provided by the cloud service provider, because they are good for they are not having much capability to solve the complex problem, because these devices do not have a very capable processors. They are just for accessing the service from the cloud side and let them be displayed through the browsing things, through the browsers or the application software provided by the cloud service provider. And we need some softwares through which we can access these services. So ultimately, because all these services are hosted at the server side, or I must say the cloud side, cloud service provider side, we just need a browser. We need a browser through which we can access these services, we can communicate through with these services. So the most prominent, the software can be a web browser. Any capable web browser is sufficient to access these services, to to get the benefit from these services, to communicate with these services. And in some cases, and I must say that in most of the cases, there are some client application provided by the cloud service provider itself, which can be used on the desktop, on the mobile itself. Like like if I talk about the Gmail, the Gmail application is provided for the Android and the iOS users by the Google, to which you can use for accessing the Google Mail functionalities. But the same thing can be accessed through the web browser itself also. So these are the client things, and the medium is internet, already we had talked about. So already a basic definition we have gone through in the previous slides. Now this is a standard definition provided by the NIST. NIST is a National Institute of Standard and Technology. It's a USA based organization which is responsible for developing standards and guidelines related to the IT technologies, the new development in the space of cyber and digital. So NIST is the organization which works on any new development in the field of technology or the cyberspace. So it prepares some standards, it prepares some the things, how this service, how this part of service, this technology is going to benefit to the society, and what are the standards they must follow for provisioning the technology to the users. So they had a very standard definition, which is more than complete definition to explain the cloud and cloud computing. So this is the definition. Cloud computing is a model for enabling ubiquitous, convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources. Example: network, servers, storage, applications and service that can be rapidly provisioned and released with minimal management effort or service provider interaction. So let's come a term by term. The first term is ubiquitous. Ubiquitous is a term which can be defined as which is available everywhere. So if I am hosting my service or my resources over the cloud, which is accessible through the internet, so very well I can say which is available everywhere. So using the advantage of internet, any cloud service, any cloud computing is available everywhere in the world. The wherever the internet accessibility is there, you can access the cloud services. So ubiquitous. Convenient, yes, convenient. Just think about it. If you need to make some data calculation, you need to just record some data in Excel files, but you just recorded these files, these data into your local file in your laptop, but just due to any reason you just forget your laptop at your home and you reach to a place where you need to present the presentation based on the data. Now what will you do? Yes, but if you are using cloud services provided by any cloud service provider, prominently we use the Google services there. Google Docs we can use. So if you had prepared your data on Google Docs, so you can access, or Google Sheets, you can access your data anywhere. You just need an internet connectivity there and you can access your data anytime, anywhere. So that is the conveniency provided by the cloud service provider. Another conveniency is in the terms of, like, you no need to install, like if you need to use the Microsoft technology for word processing, you will have to install the MS Office first in your system, which is having some prerequisites. If your system is not having such prerequisites installed in your computer, then it would be hard to install that software, and maybe some compatibility issue maybe arises in the future. But in the case of cloud services, each and everything is managed by the cloud service provider. Each and everything is the responsibility of their functioning is totally of cloud service provider. So that is the conveniency provided by the cloud computing. Come to the next term, that is on demand. Just think about the facility. Whenever you have demand, you can access the things. Like as I explained earlier, if you forgot your data in your laptop at your home and you just reach to a place where you need to present your presentation and you have no access of your data, just because of that is locally saved in your laptop. So now you have a demand, like you want your data right now. So you just produce your demand on the cloud if you have saved your data on the cloud, and your data would be available with you. Likewise, if you are utilizing the storage services of the cloud, and you have exhausted the, like already if you are using the Gmail services, by default you get a record, you get a pool of 15 GB of data. But on the go, if you exhausted your storage, you can expand your storage. Like available plans with them, and as soon as you apply for the upgradation of your data storage, that would be provisioned in very minimal time. So whenever you have demand, you have the supply from the cloud service provider. A shared pool, as you can see, the resources are not like one to one. These are the shared resources. The same application, the same resources can be provisioned to you as well as to the other users. This is the shared pool of configuration computing resources, like this, rapidly provisioned, as I explained earlier, rapidly. As soon as you just ask the demand, you just put the demand to the cloud service provider, the same way, in the same meanwhile, you got the services from the cloud service provider. So this is the idea. Just think about it, like you just requested additional storage from the cloud service provider now, and you are getting the service in few hours or in few days. This is no sense. This is making no sense. So cloud services are provisioned in a very rapid way and released with minimal management effort. Like if you are if you just requested the additional storage from any cloud service provider, it's meaning not like there is any person sitting there listening your request and providing you the response on the basis of your request. No, each and everything is, most of the things are automated. These are the managed by the some software activities, some other kind of resources. These things are provisioned automatically. Yes, so this is the standard definition provided by the NIST, which is more than complete to explain the cloud computing. So for the today, all about this. In the next lecture, we will discuss the further things. Thank you.